Hello, hello.
Hello.
I hear you, but I don't see you. There we
Are we
go.
there now? I've got both pictures now.
Yep, we're good.
We're good. Right on. Yesterday was such a gong show.
Yeah, a little disappointing. That's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with all the hype that I'd done all week for it and everything.
Yeah, well,
So hopefully somebody sees this. Looks like we've got a few people looking already.
I got 4.
So we got 3 minutes till we're officially on. So you're a car guy. What kind of cars are you into?
I'm not too much of a car guy. I like taking things apart and putting them back together.
Okay, so you're a tinkerer.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a bit of a car guy. I've got a 10th generation Honda Civic Si. So it's the sporty one with the stick shift and the 6 speed and all that.
Oh yeah,
And
manual.
it's yeah, and it's got just under 600,000 kilometers on it now.
Oh my word.
Cuz yeah, it's on its second motor. The first motor lasted to 520
Jeez.
and yeah, the first clutch lasted to just under 500,000 kilometers. So
Wow.
it's been a good car.
Yeah, Honda, right?
Yeah, can't go wrong. Um, all right, so I guess we're gonna cover. Do you want to? Do you want like you're hosting? So do you want to go first and talk a little bit, or do you want me to introduce things, or how do you want to do it?
Um, you know what? I'm not too sure. I totally forgot how we were gonna. I was gonna start this out yesterday, and then I forgot. Oh yeah, okay. I guess I wanted to ask you just like, how did you get into making content, political content?
That's kind of funny story actually, because I hadn't intended to. Um, what got me into doing political commentary was it was the only thing that people wanted to hear. Like I tried telling stories. For a couple of years, I was on TikTok with like 200 followers, and I was content with my 200 followers because they actually interacted and stuff like that. And so I was telling stories and doing kind of theatrical type stuff. Um, and and all my videos were kind of long, like around 2 minutes, with a 1 minute of music to start them. And then if I talked, it was after a full minute of music, because I wasn't optimizing or anything. I didn't understand how the algorithm worked. I didn't understand the importance of short videos and all that stuff.
Right.
So I was just having fun, basically, listening to my favorite music, playing DJ, and then having some kind of commentary after the music. But once I went and spent a month in Thailand with my now ex girlfriend, but she's really heavy into TikTok, and she had like 12,000 followers, and it was. But she's a hot chick. She can do those dance videos and stuff, and people will watch. Um, but she taught me a lot about TikTok and what I was doing wrong. And basically, the 1 minute of music was wrong. I just wasted time.
Gotta get
And
the hook in there, yeah.
yeah, so people, once I started doing videos where it was just me talking, that's when it took off. And that was kind of around October of last year. And um, I've just seen huge growth since, I kind of got serious, I guess you could say it. Um, and and I kind of fell into the separation subject just because, like, the whole thing does bother me on a personal level. Um, like, just the disloyalty. Aren't we all Canadians? Aren't we loyal to Canada? You'd think.
Right.
And so I guess the passion kind of comes through a little bit on that subject, and people react to it. And so now, like, most of my followers or viewers or whatever you want to call everybody are in Alberta. And when I went there to give that speech last month, or no, the month before last, um, it was really interesting because I actually got recognized by a few people. And that was a bizarre feeling.
Yeah, I think I saw that video. You were at the legislature?
The Calgary City Hall.
Oh,
It was
yeah, Calgary City.
for the Alberta is Canada rally, basically a rah rally for Canada. And I gave a 5 minute speech, and I'm still recovering. I got frostbite on my fingertips from
Jeez.
holding my phone in minus 27 degrees.
Oh boy.
Um, but it was a really great experience. Otherwise, it was really cool to do. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Somebody asked here, can you ask him why he cares about Alberta? I think you just covered that. The
Yeah.
Alberta referendum
It's
specifically.
I care about it for a number of reasons. One is it affects me personally. I have family in Alberta, and I live right next to Alberta, and I live in a town that relies on Albertans coming here on vacation. So if Alberta, trips and falls flat on its face and fucks everything up, it's going to affect me financially and with my family, and um, and Canada in general. Like, punching a big hole in the middle of the country just doesn't help anybody.
Right, like the way I see it is that we are a big family. You chop the knees off your brother, and your brother can't help you anymore.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Like, it's short sighted, and it's simplistic thinking, and it won't solve any of the problems they're pointing out that they have. Um, they've got this big hate on for Ottawa, which may or may not be justified in some cases, but the key is to work within the system to change it, not to just blow up the system.
Right. Throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Just okay. So one guy's asking about Berta Proud Dad.
Yeah, I was
There's
going
a
to address
subject.
that. The reason why I won't do this with Bird of Proud Dad is because Bird of Proud Dad has blocked me on every platform.
Which tells you something, right?
He
You
doesn't want to have
know,
a conversation.
no. And I've been getting into scraps since I was before kindergarten, and I can tell when I'm walking into an ambush. And it's obvious with him that he's trying to set me up for some kind of ambush. And my guess is that he would sick Keith Wilson on me first chance he gets. And Keith Wilson is like, say about him what you will, but he's a smooth talking lawyer who's been doing courtroom stuff since before I was, well, I guess he's probably not around the same age as I am, probably, but he's been doing it for longer than I've been doing this, that's for sure. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to slow it down, but also speed it up with these 1 minute um, videos that I suggested in response to Bird a Proud Dad and Adam Durgis from Army of Great Men and Mandeep Bal. All three of them all at once latched onto me and wanted me to come on their shows. And it just didn't feel legit. It felt like I was being set up.
Not fair.
So, yeah. So that's why I kind of, one thing I learned when I was young getting into fights was choosing where to fight was quite often key to the whole thing. And so that's why I said instead of these long meandering answers that they like to give where they cover everything under the sun except for exactly what you asked, I wanted 1 minute direct answers. And I would give them the same in return, and it would be fair. But that didn't interest them at all. Like they acted like giving direct answers was somehow impossible.
I think it is impossible.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. When your whole argument is built on bullshit, then you don't want to give direct answers because that's the problem. So that's the disconnect between them and me is I want to have short, concise answers that people can understand, and they want to give long, blustery bullshit answers full of personal attacks. And Berta Proud Dad proved that the very first chance I gave him, because he refused to do the thing. But then I kind of called him out with a video asking the question about, I think, currency. And so he makes an 8-minute response video.
Jeez.
Yeah, 8 minutes instead of 1 minute. And it's full of personal attacks. And he goes into my back catalog of content from before I was serious, doing the story time stuff. And he picks out a video where I was in character, and he tried to say it sounds bad. To me, it doesn't even sound bad. I'm not talking to a woman in that video. I'm talking about a woman in that video. And in that video, I'm talking about how I love her and miss her and don't want to make problems in her area. But the character, his job is hunting down traitors to the Canadian military. And he works for the Canadian military. He's sort of like a Jack Reacher character. Do you know Jack Reacher?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You know how when he was in the character that I was playing in that video was inspired by that character, and how Jack Reacher's character, when he was in the military police, would hunt down people that had turned traitor to the American government, and he would quite often just kill them, right? And so the character in this scenario that Berta Proud Dad played was the Canadian version of that character, essentially. And he had found this bad guy character, the piano man, in a location that happened to be close to where one of his old flames was.
Mm.
And so he was like debating, do I burn this guy's house down like I'm supposed to? Or do I try to play nice because I'm in my ex-girlfriend's neighborhood? So there's a lot of nuance behind that.
Right.
That video that he played, and he tried to play it off like I was just talking disrespectfully to a woman, which, no, if you actually have the full context for it, it wasn't that at all. So the
No, I
fact
like
of the
that
matter is,
format. Yeah, that's an attractive format, and it's like you said, it's direct and concise, and like, I think we're a lot alike in that we don't want to waste people's time and just get it out, right?
yeah.
They can't seem to do that.
So yeah, that's the thing. They need lots of time to run the clock. Running the clock itself is a tactic. People tune out, and once
Hmm.
they've tuned out, you've kind of won because now they're not even looking for the answer anymore. And then another tactic they use is called the Gish Gallop. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I'm not familiar.
I just understood it this week. I had it pointed out by a few viewers that had recognized it. What it is, Mandeep Bal did it, and they all do it, which is they'll go through like a well rehearsed thing where they toss up a half a dozen different issues. Boom, 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 boom. There's this, and you're supposed to play whack a mole, hitting down issues, and they're just, and half of them can be just 100% bullshit. But you're busy playing whack a mole trying to beat down all these different arguments when they could give a fucking direct answer and you can have a proper conversation. And they don't want to do that. They want to ambush me with gotcha type stuff. And guaranteed, if you look through some of my old content, there's going to be something that somebody can get offended about. Like it's, it's, you know,
Yeah, they
yeah.
nitpick, and I mean that's exactly what Manny was trying to accuse me of, as being disingenuous and chopping up the video there, and then that he went on to do exactly exactly that, just chopping up the video to be disingenuous and
That's the thing. They accuse everyone else of doing exactly what they are doing because they think what they're doing is the only way to be. They think that they're winners by being losers, essentially.
right.
But now, like, I think it's going to get harder for them to get taken seriously because they're only claiming 177,000 signatures, and that hasn't even been officially confirmed yet, as far as I know. And but yet the Stay Canadian deal got over 400,000 verified signatures. So like they're less than half is what they're hoping for. The math doesn't math. Like who cares if there's a referendum? They'll lose.
Right.
Like do they need to lose twice?
Yeah, I didn't think that they would have trouble getting the signatures, but I mean, the
But they
inevitable
did.
conclusion is that it's like the referendum is not, like, nobody's going to vote on it, right? Like
Well,
nobody's going to
the
vote
key
for it.
is the only way that they got enough signatures is that Danielle Smith lowered the amount of signatures they needed to get and gave them an extra month to get them. So it was a difficult grind for them to get those signatures, and they're not verified yet because and that's a big deal because most of their signatures come from rural areas, and those rural areas have a problem with their addresses on people's driver's licenses.
Right.
You know about that one?
Range roads and yeah.
Yeah, like they'll have a PO box on their driver's license that doesn't count for petitions. Um, so they have to give some special address that involves parcels and acres and some crazy farm concept that I don't even understand. But so it's literally difficult to get signatures from those people because if they just show you their driver's license, it doesn't count.
Yeah.
So they might have thousands of signatures like that are not going to be allowed. So
Yeah. Little
they might not
nuances.
even, yeah. So, anyways,
So
what
I
else?
guess that's one thing I always punish people for, is that they blame Danielle Smith for separation, or they call her the figurehead of separation. And I just don't believe that's true. I think that she just respects the democratic process. She wants people to have a say and a choice and do whatever they want, right? Like, and I
She
think
wants
she
to play
lowered.
both sides against the middle.
Sorry.
She's she's playing both sides against the middle because if she was 100% pro Canada, she wouldn't have lowered the bar to give them the ability to only get 177,000 signatures, but she did lower the bar. And
Right,
she
but I
hasn't
think
done it.
that's the misconception, though, is that she lowered the referendum threshold specifically for separatists. But I think it's just that separatists are the only ones who have taken advantage of it. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny that she didn't do that for the Stay Canadian people. They
Right.
had the higher threshold, right? So,
That's kind of where this all started, though, right? I mean, hindsight's always 2020.
well, it's funny how it favors the separatists, though.
Yeah, but we could enact more or other different kinds of referendums, right, to help combat Ottawa. I think that's what she had in mind.
Well, she's got a hate on for Ottawa, that's for sure. And she knows that if she keeps people focused on a fight with Ottawa, they won't focus on her and the fact that education and healthcare has gone to shit underneath her. So, like you've got two-tiered healthcare is a thing now in Alberta. Um, I have relatives that have disabilities, and that whole situation has turned into a nightmare in Alberta. And that's all happened under her. And now she's doing these extra referendum questions where she's basically trying to shift blame to immigrants. And the blame should be on the person who has caused the huge inflation of government spending that has created the, what do you call it, deficits. So, you know, if during good times in the oil industry they're still running deficits, how are things going to go when the oil industry goes tits up, which it always does? It seems to do regularly every 10 years or so.
Right.
So, she's I the one thing I'll say about her is for a 55-year-old woman, she's quite attractive. Which is I think why Trump likes her,
Yeah.
because Trump is that shallow that that's all that matters. Um, but she's, as a leader, that word disingenuous, I feel like applies to her a lot because she'll say one thing, like just that whole thing with, I believe in a sovereign Alberta within a united Canada. What the fuck does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Like, this is like, I believe in, it's just like Nenshi said. It's like, I believe in marriage, the sanctity of marriage, but I also date on the side. Like, it's one or
Yeah,
the other, right?
I think we disagree quite a bit on Danielle Smith. But
Okay, well, so you're a Danielle Smith fan?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Like I have a healthy, distrust for authority and for politicians too, like everybody. But Danielle Smith is actually the only politician I've ever liked. And the she's trying. I feel like when she's saying, a united, what is it? A united
United, no, the sovereign Alberta within a
sovereign.
united Canada.
Yeah, like I said, I think she's just leaving it up to the people. Really, like I don't know if she's playing both sides. Like I said, I think she just respects the democratic process, and she's just working with what she has.
She's putting her thumb down on one side of the scale, though, and it favors the separatists.
But only
And
because the separatists are the only ones at the plate.
well, that's the thing is there's a small minority of loudmouth separatists that are getting way more attention than they deserve, and they have no plan. Like that's been the big theme of my work for the last few weeks now is like, what's the fucking plan?
Right.
And all they can essentially come to after talking for 8 minutes or more, like some of these videos are an hour and a half long, and I'm like, who the fuck is watching this? Like to watch a lawyer talk for an hour and a half and like no. Anyways, the after all that, their plan is we plan to make a plan. So the whole thing is trust us, bro. Like trust us, bro. The plan is to make a plan. Well, so we're flying by the seat of our pants here. It's
Yeah.
like they're Maverick, and and Alberta is an F-14 Tomcat or something, and they're just gonna invert it and fly down into Never Land. There's no plan. They
They're
don't
clearly
have a
just
plan.
demonstrating. They're not organizing.
No, and that's the thing, and they're all unelected. Like other than Danielle Smith, who was elected to lead Alberta within Canada and has no mandate to separate from Canada. Other than her, the rest of them are completely unelected, self-appointed leaders that are saying they're going to negotiate for a better tomorrow, but they have no plan and they can't articulate one. They can say, oh, well, there's this plethora of choices we have for us. Well, it's like, well, fucking pick one. What are people going to plan for? You know?
Yeah.
So, but
Well, it
I'm
goes back
interested.
to what you were saying about, interacting with them. It's they're just broadcasting. They're not trying to have dialogue or a conversation, right?
Yeah. And that's the other thing is they're trying to normalize it through all these regular videos. Like you got these guys like John Bolton that makes those videos every morning where he talks about his big blue cup where he drinks his coffee, and somehow that's a thing. And he talks about grievances. That like that's all he's got is one grievance after another. And I I don't get how people are just eating that up. Like how can grievance be that sexy? It's like let's all just have a pity party and just bitch and moan together. I'm gonna go sit in my lifted F-350 and cry myself to sleep. Like it just doesn't land, you
Yeah.
know. So
The path of least resistance. I think we're just so apathetic and placated and comfortable here in the West, and I think it's reached a breaking point.
well, and that's the thing. Like these guys think they have it tough. You know, they've got their F-350s. They've lifted them. They're carrying sleds on the back, and they've got a trailer with a boat on the back of that. And then they've got their motorhome and their big houses, and they're suffering somehow.
Hmm.
Somehow they are suffering, and the rest of Canada should feel sorry for them. I got to tell you, it ain't that easy in the rest of Canada. Like most people aren't trying to figure out where they're going to moor their boat this summer. You know?
I think that, that's what really pisses me off, and I think that's kind of why I started this platform. It's like I can go outside right now and walk down the street. The entire street is vehicles, and every single person on my street has a garage. What are you complaining about?
Yeah. Like how tough is life really? You know? Because
And go to the next
you
street over
know,
here, same thing. They all have garages.
yeah, and they've all got vehicles and they've all got toys and you know and they've and more power to them. I'm not against people having luxuries and
For
nice
sure.
things. I just want them to say I appreciate that instead of bitching and moaning that they don't have more, I guess.
We
Like
live in one of the most affluent countries in the world. If you can't make it here,
yeah,
you can't make it anywhere.
yeah, yeah. Like holy smoke, 79 messages.
Jeez. I'm
Trump is
not really
welcome to
following
take
the
Alberta.
chat here. It's kind of just going. Get into character and become the weirdo that we all know you are.
I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm just me. I wasn't. If I was going to do something in character, I would need a script for that. I don't. I'm not Robin Williams. I don't just come up with shit on the spot.
Somebody was sending us some paper cranes. Appreciate that, whoever that was. I don't know what that means, but I think it's a good
Okay.
thing.
Oh, okay.
um, what else I got here?
We should mention
Um,
Pierre Polyev.
yeah. Seems like Joe Rogan already decided who our next prime minister is.
Yeah, yeah, because he talked to one of them. But I just don't understand why people swallow his excuse for. Looks like we have the identical
Oh,
uh, cup.
close. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Same
same
colors.
color.
He's a smooth talker too.
Yeah, that's the thing is he's a smooth talker, but all he seems to really have is grievance and simplistic answers. Um, he's changed his tune in the last couple of weeks, I guess, where now he's saying he's pro Canada, which is
Mm.
that's that's great.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's
thanks. We kind of expected that as a fucking baseline.
that's somebody it seems who plays all sides, wears all the
Yeah.
masks.
Yeah, it's like one minute he's tough talk, the next minute he's bootlicking, and it's like I don't know. He's been in government for like 20 years and he's got no signature legislation underneath him where he can point to and says, I did that. And that improved Canadians' lives. He's got nothing like that. Like the guy that was in control of the NDP, that was, I try to remember his name now. Uh, oh, anyways, the former NDP, he had more claim to fame as far as benefiting Canadians goes as Pierre does. And Pierre's been there 20 years and gets a massive uh, payday because of it. And yet he's expecting Canadians to, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I keep
I don't
asking
like
people
Pierre Poilievre.
who the third candidate is. Nobody can tell me.
Well, they've got this Avi guy now that he looks like he's got lots of energy, anyways.
He seems all
And
right.
yeah, but it was kind of funny that Nenshi kind of Nahid Nenshi kind of came out against him right off the bat,
Hmm.
and then he came out in favor of Nenshi. So I don't know where that whole thing is going now, because starting your out on having your main province turn against you, that
Right.
can't be good.
I was reading a little bit on Pierre. Apparently, he was a page in the House of Commons when he was young, a teen or something like that. And it's like, so he's essentially been groomed for this position his whole life.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is he thinks that he's been trained how to be prime minister. Well, prime ministers have to make a lot of difficult and sometimes unpopular decisions, and they have to do it based on knowing stuff that regular Canadians maybe can't or don't know. And that's why you have to listen to security briefings. And if he won't even get a security clearance, which he had before, so at some point in time he believed it was necessary to have a security clearance, but now that he's like one step away from being prime minister, he's trying to say it's not important. Meanwhile, the Americans have completely gone off the plot. We can't trust them to save our lives, literally, and everything is changing with through NATO, and um, we're trying to get back on terms with India. Like all these things where you would definitely want to know the behind the scenes skullduggery of the situation. He's completely oblivious to that. And he's trying to spin that into some kind of virtue.
Hmm.
Like, so he's not leader material. He's not a statesman. He's not a serious guy. Like, if he was serious, he would have a security clearance. And because and his excuse for not getting one, this whole business of, well, then it puts a gag on me and I can't talk. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about if you don't know what you're talking about? You shouldn't be talking. You should shut up.
Yeah, I don't trust him at all. I always say like, let's forget the suit and tie. Like, let's hire somebody who's in overalls, coveralls. Like, let's try that. Let's just try it.
I I predict that at some point in the next 5 years, somebody's going to show up to work at the House of Commons wearing what we're wearing right now, a hoodie and sweats
Right?
with a ball cap, because that is the new Canadian uniform.
It's
It
so
really is.
like the whole thing is just so superficial, and like I just feel like everything online is just virtue signaling. There's nothing real anymore.
There is a lot of virtue signaling, and it's on all sides. Um, like, because the separatists keep like when you try to pin them down on something. Well, it's not about money. It's about control. And Ottawa is communist, and they start throwing out words like that, the socialism, and they're gonna make us into China, da da. And it's like
which is
it's just all
which
horseshit,
it's ironic because then I go and talk to them on the street and they're telling me I can't film them and they're not allowed to have conversations. It's like the new
Yeah,
Republic of Alberta is starting to sound like North Korea.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing, right? Because exactly what's going to happen if, like, I mean, if in their fantasy it came true and somehow they managed to separate, because I mean, that's the kind of elephant in the room is that this whole thing is essentially impossible. Like with the way the Clarity Act is laid out and everything, the chance that they can actually create a situation where they separate is practically nil. But let's play the thought experiment. What if they did? So I forget where I was going now.
The day one currency will be guzzling.
Well, that's the thing is there's so many because there has to be a day one. They don't like talking about day one. They don't want to talk about day one. So when you so what they at first I was asking about day one after the referendum, but honestly that's too soon of a day one. So I changed it. I said day one after you declare independence. Like so you've had your time to negotiate. You've hopefully hit your targets of your negotiations. On day one after those negotiations, what currency, who's paying the pensions, who's managing the borders, where are the borders, and what's going on with the First Nations, right? They don't want to answer any of that. And they should be able to answer that by now. The Alberta Prosperity Project prides itself on being an educational service. Well, they're awfully quiet on the details, you know.
Hmm.
So, um, and yeah, so
They're trying hard to avoid public perception, but also have the public's perception. The whole thing is cakeism. It's just trying to have it both ways.
yeah, cakeism, like let them eat cake.
Yeah, I like that.
I never heard that one. Um, yeah. Well, we've covered half an hour here.
Oh
Is
yeah.
there anything else we need to cover? Or?
Um, I don't know. Let's see what else I got here. I think a big issue is people, they blame the government. They keep blaming the government like the government is Godzilla or something. It's like the government
Yeah.
is just an intermediary, and we don't even seem to know who our real enemies are. Our real enemies are BlackRock and Vanguard, right?
Well, yeah. American multinationals that own our media system, like most of the newspapers in Canada now are owned by American hedge funds and um, American interests, other than CBC, CTV, and Global, I guess. And so those are your legitimate news. Um, one thing I don't get is where the conservatives they seem to think that they don't get enough airtime on CBC or something like that. I don't think that's true. See, they do get lots of coverage. It's just they say stupid shit. They use it, they squander it. Like here's my theory on how you could actually improve things in Alberta is stop doing what you've done for not you well I mean you're conservative so but you guys have been voting conservative loyally so loyalty isn't a problem but you've been sending rage baiting lazy non coalition building people to Ottawa and then accepting their excuses for 50 years, right? Whereas if all of a sudden they if Alberta changed its tactics and voted some even conservative leaning independents into office who actually understand the concept of coalition building, you could make some major changes in Ottawa that would benefit Western Canada. Um, but the fact is, they go there and they shout and they yell and they wave their fucking Bibles around like they're not serious people. You're sending losers to Ottawa. So I'm sure some of them are good. Like I'll tell you who actually did, because I don't really have a dog in the hunt. I hate Pierre Poilievre. I don't trust him at all. Should hate is a strong word, but I don't like him. And but as far as the conservative movement itself, I in the past they've done good things too. Not under Stephen Harper. He was a fucking disaster. But prior to him, there was some good conservatives like Brian Mulroney and those guys. They did some good stuff. So I'm open to hearing a good conservative leader, a serious statesman. And the guy that impressed me was the guy they fired right away. Was that Colin? Wasn't it Colin something?
I can't remember. Yeah.
The guy just prior to Polyev.
Yeah. It's not coming up.
He was much more center right, and he would say things that actually made sense to me, and I'm center left. So, like, I'm just looking for somebody who's pro Canadian, and right now, the guy that really seems to be most pro Canadian is Carney. And I've talked to quite a few conservatives who quietly admit they voted for Carney, right? Or if not, they didn't. They might not have voted for him, but they do approve of most of what he's done. Because the fact of the matter is, he did come into power and immediately kill the carbon tax, which cut Poilievre's pins out from underneath him. But it was Poilievre's idea.
Right.
So what that tells me is that Carney just believes in good ideas. He doesn't care about the right or the left of things, which that's what we need in office right now, is somebody that's focused on what's best for Canada, not what's best for the right or the left.
Right. And then, yeah, and that's a lot of the problem is these allegiances, and we forget that both left and right are supposed to be working together for the whole, right?
Yes, that's the thing. We're all supposed to be Canadian, and Canadians are all supposed to be on the same side on the big issues. But right now, the Conservatives are kind of all over the map. On the one hand, they're like, "Oh, we want a united Canada," and on the other hand, you got that dipshit that went down to the United States and did the Breitbart interview where he blames Canadians for being anti-American. What?
And I think
What?
that's part of the problem too, is that we keep trying to vote for accountability and integrity, and we completely neglect our civic duty. And like we just think that we can vote for change and we don't have to change ourselves.
Yeah. Well,
Because a lot of this is downstream, right? I mean, like Mark Carney and the federal government is out completely outside of most people's sphere of influence, right? Like what can you do now today yourself? I think people don't. Maybe they do ask themselves that question, but like it goes back to apathy and just being comfortable and complacent, and you know,
well,
bred in circus society.
yeah. Well, and it's also a tactic of the propagandists is to teach helplessness. I did a video on it recently that nobody watched called Learned Helplessness. And the technique is to basically tell somebody that the system's so fucked. Everything is so fucked. It's just completely out of control. The only solution is just to burn it all down. We just got to burn it all down. Ugh. And the thing is, there's ways to work within the system to change the system. That's how the system is designed. But if you keep trying the same tactic you have for 50 fucking years that has never worked, then The problem is you, not you, but you know,
Yeah,
Albertans
I
in
got you.
general. They're just trying. They just keep trying the same solution to the problem, and it doesn't work. And so,
It's
like,
insanity.
it is insanity. That is literally the definition of insanity. So, like, one thing that's kind of interesting about Alberta is there's always hunger for a new political party there. Like the UCP is a relatively new thing that grew out of the Wild Rose Party, and back in the day, the Reform Party became the Progressive Conservative Party. Um, all that started in Alberta, from what I understand. So maybe it's time for a new party. So, like, I've been toying with different, toying is maybe the wrong word, experimenting, pardon me, with different brand names for a potential party. The
Same,
first one,
actually.
yeah. And like my first effort, and probably my weakest one, is this dark green independent. I That sounded good to me because I'm an ex Green Party guy. And the Green Party is, it's a good party, but it's much too inward focused, and they always eat their own the minute somebody gets to be leader, unless it's Elizabeth May, and she's gonna be too old to keep running pretty soon. So they're kind of lost in the wilderness, same as the NDP, except worse. So that's why I kind of splintered off with dark green independent. But now that I'm seeing most of my audience is in the prairies, having the word green in there is just a liability.
Yeah, right. That's my first thought too.
Yeah. So now I'm working with the concept of the strategic bloc. So at first it was going to be the Western strategic bloc, because I was going to base it on everything from Manitoba West and base it around Western issues completely. But then I got so much feedback from people in Ontario and Quebec and Eastern Canada that they wanted to not be, they wanted to be included.
Hmm.
So since then, I've kind of changed it to just strategic bloc, and I was kind of getting into it there for a while, with doing podcasts and stuff. But then I had this situation with my family come up, and it kind of took away a lot of my free time.
Oh yeah.
So, oh, there's the train.
I was gonna say I like what Dallas Brody's doing over there, and I kind of like the idea of one Alberta.
One Alberta. Well, you know what? That's not crazy, because, like, right now in the House of Commons is the Bloc Québécois, and they're a single provincial party, which I don't think should be allowed in Ottawa. I think Ottawa should be 100% about managing the whole country. You shouldn't just represent one province. But Quebec has been allowed to do that. So why not do the same thing for Alberta or Western Canada, all as a block? You know? So my concept with strategic block was that people could cooperate across provincial lines to bring forth legislation that would make certain things easier and better for all Canadians.
A
Like
united front.
a united front, exactly. Like one of the most obvious ones that someone else came up with the idea. It wasn't my idea, but I thought it was really good. Is um, medication. We should be doing. We should be pooling our resources to negotiate the price of medications across the country. Because right now, each province negotiates individually. So the price of say Ozempic. Everybody wants Ozempic. It's expensive like crazy. Well, if we were negotiating for 40 million people instead of just 5 million people in Alberta, then all of a sudden the economies of scale go way in your favor and the prices automatically start coming down. So that's something we're not doing now that we absolutely should be doing. And that would be something that my strategic block idea works because it works for not just one province, but as many provinces that want to be involved. And what province, what premier is going to say, no, 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 we don't want that economy of scale. We don't want the better price on the drugs. We want to be on our own because we're a unique society that likes to pay high prices.
Yeah. I think that's
So,
really our way forward is sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there.
no, that,
Yeah, leveraging what we already have, right? Like
yeah.
we said earlier, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And I think that's a lot of we're a throwaway society. So that's our first instinct is, oh, well, we shit the bed. Let's get a new bed.
Yeah. Well, but then it's an argument about, oh, how did we shit the bed? Because, like, did we really? Because, the next breath out of those people is that, the liberals are communists and, the Carney, all he cares about is Brookfield and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, come on.
Yeah, whatever their specific issue is. But yeah,
So,
but people wanted me to question you on your block idea, but but I don't know why.
well, if you got questions about it, I'm happy to answer them. I just, well, I gave you the basic rundown on it.
um, what do you think about turning the reservations into municipalities?
If that's what the First Nations want, and I would be all for it. Like, if that's what they want, do they want to be communities? Well, of course, they're already communities, but do they want to be like a place where everybody goes? I guess I don't
I
know.
think
Like,
yeah, their voice is kind of fragmented, hey, because like on their chiefs and all that will say one thing, and then it feels like the people just uninvolved with the politics, they'll say a completely other thing, right? And I think that's I don't know. The whole problem, it all just goes back to division. And it seems so obvious to me that we're being divided, like actively there are forces trying to divide us. And that's what pisses me off about the separation. It's like we're already divided, bro. And then
yeah.
and then you can't understand that it's literally in the word separation is a synonym for division. And it just boggles my mind.
Well, that is the thing is there's a lot of money at stake for the Americans, so it's literally more cost effective for them to try to break up Canada by making us hate each other
Right.
than it is to try to play fair ball with us.
Like, isn't
So
that obvious to people? Isn't it obvious where this is coming from?
yeah.
I guess
Well,
not.
I guess the Jeff Rath types, they see like Jeff Rath and Keith Wilson are both lawyers. So the only people that are definitely going to benefit from this whole malarkey, whether it happens or not, is the fucking lawyers. Because the minute they try to do anything, the First Nations are going to go to court and get injunctions and they're going to gum up the works, and they're going to do that legally with all their treaty rights, and it's going to these negotiations that they're talking about will go on forever, and the only people that will benefit are the lawyers because they'll get paid whether they win or not. So there's the incentive for them is obvious, but the incentive for everyone else is way less obvious. And so that's where they get into the whole wishful thinking and like, well, there's going to be no taxes. We're going to build an army, but we're not going to pay taxes.
Pipe
Like,
dreams.
yeah, like so.
Seems like the whole thing, the whole movement is designed to distract and divide us. And it's like, if we cared about Alberta, then why are we wasting our time with this? Wasting all our time and effort and energy. And like it just seems like they're tying our hands on purpose. And people,
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Pop culture isn't going to come save me again this time. It didn't save me last time. It's not going to save me this time.
yeah. Housing prices will go down 30% after we cut the red tape on last year for potential. See, this is the kind of wishful thinking I'm talking about. This the Republic of Alberta guy. Housing prices will go down 30% in Alberta after we cut the red tape and unleash our full potential. Well, do you want that? Do
They're
you want to
just
lose 30% of the value of your house?
they're just saying things.
I mean, it would make it easier for people trying to get into the market, I guess. But that begs the question of, okay, well, then who's going to loan you the money? Because the CMHC is the one that gives the 5%, the ability to do a 5% down payment, right? Well, that's a federal agency. So is Alberta, with its no tax policy, going to offer a 5% down payment? Probably not. Like, there's something's got to give. So
He's saying here, zero taxes. Everyone in Alberta will be well off.
yeah, and everybody gets a free unicorn.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
These are the
that
people spewing all of this propaganda to everyone.
yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's a lot of wishful thinking. They're preying on people that clearly have a difficulty with critical thinking, you know, like asking questions and then expecting direct answers, you know. And it sounds like at these meetings, have you been to one of these meetings yet?
No, I was trying to go to one, but I had an exam.
Oh, okay.
There was one here in where is it? Just on the north side here, where I'm at, pretty close by. Mitch Sylvester was supposed to be there. I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen any media or video or anything from it yet.
Okay. Well, maybe it was poorly attended, or maybe they said secret stuff that they can't say in public, right?
Right.
Because that's what they try to make it out as if these meetings is where the only place where they can talk the specifics, and that you gotta it's a hush hush, and that doesn't make any sense at all. A and B, from what I understand, is if you go into one of those meetings and ask a hard question, instead of giving you a direct answer, they will ostracize you and try to call you out for being stupid to ask that question. That is disingenuous.
Yeah, I did see someone chased out of one of those meetings. I think Igor Ritself posted a video,
Oh,
and they were trying to make it seem like, oh, he's making a scene and blah blah blah. And it's like, nope, he's just asking a question.
asking a question. And that's the thing. If they can't answer basic questions, then they can't answer the hard ones for sure. And if they have no plan now for how it's going to play out, then when are they going to have a plan? Like they're it's all 100% by the seat of their pants. You know, that's not how you run a country. It's not how you
Mhm.
start a country. That's how you basically administer a failure. So, but the thing is, from Jeff Rath and Keith Wilson's point of view, a failure is still great for them. They
Yeah.
get to fight in court no matter what, get pile up their bills. I did a video in January where I had a picture. I had a picture of Jeff Rath and
Oh,
Keith Wilson. Well,
it says I'm inactive or something.
you're
Sorry,
still showing up.
interrupted you.
No worries.
There we
It
go.
looks like it's still working.
It's saying I was inactive or detected. I had to do a prove I'm not a bot or something.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe just because we've been on so long here, it's almost
Yeah.
an hour now. We've really been shooting the shit here. We've got 100 people watching us. That's actually fairly impressive. I'm impressed with that.
16 on my
Uh,
end. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I don't. I hope people are enjoying it. I don't know how. Wow, these are the ugliest people I've ever seen. Well, I hope you weren't tuning in for fashion advice.
Must have some gorgeous people in their family.
That's right. Yeah. You can go watch the manosphere of Berta Proud Dad and Army of Great Men as they work out online. That's what we want to watch. So
Yeah, that's a big red flag for me too. Is that you got a CEO and a lawyer as your leaders for your civilian-led referendum? I don't know. And then like this guy Sylvester's like geriatric old man. Like you're in your retirement years, and who's funding you? Who's funding all of these trips up and down Alberta? And like, doesn't make much sense.
yeah, yeah. He reminds me of Lurch from Adam's Family.
Yeah.
Just just the way his mannerisms and whatnot. But yeah, I did a video in January about Rath and Keith Wilson, and it's a picture of them both standing there in their barristers' outfits in a courtroom, and they're knee deep in cash, because that's what it is for them. This whether they win or lose, it's knee deep in cash for those two. Uh, if Rath is still a lawyer, I heard he might have been losing that somehow or something. Uh,
Yeah, on the verge of being disbarred, apparently.
yeah, which surprise, surprise.
Hmm.
Says Durgis founded Raintree Financial. Wonder if he'll leave the company or keep it as a backup plan. I would suggest he keeps it as a backup plan.
That's I guess that brings about another point is like people were one person was saying that they kind of feel bad for these canvassers because and I do too because it's like they've just been thrown under the bus. They have no idea why they're there. They don't have an argument. They don't have a case. So it's like yeah, I almost feel bad picking on them.
Well, that's the thing is the people gathering the signatures are sort of like the lost sheep. They don't know why they're there, but they think it's important, and they're told they can't talk. And that
Hmm.
might not just be the like that might actually be rules based on elections Alberta.
I don't think so, actually. I think this is misinformation that they're peddling at the town hall meetings that you can't talk to anybody. We can't talk about this.
Well, there are certain things they can't talk about because they're not an official political party. And that I think that's where the thing comes up is they can't push a political agenda unless they're a registered political party, which they aren't. So there are
Yeah,
uh,
there are some
some rules that apply.
limitations, but
But
to just completely not be able to have any kind of sort of conversation at all is just that's
you
just
should at least be able
ridiculous.
to cover the main points or something. Somebody came up with a good point here is the, the whole they found God thing. You notice that with Alberta Proud Dad now? He's quoting
Mhm.
scriptures and trying to be Mr. God Boy. Like that, you know, it's so transparently uh, pandering,
Right. They
you
just
know?
take up whatever mantle is being attacked, right?
Yeah. Well, Christianity isn't being attacked though. Like that's the
Oh
thing is
yeah.
that's the fantasy.
It's their
Like
perception, I mean, yeah.
yeah, like the well, they're trying to say Bill C9 is anti-Bible. No, it's anti-hate. So if you're going to use the Bible to try to justify hating another race, then you don't deserve to have that speech. That is hate speech. I don't care if you're waving a Bible around. Simple. But they're trying to say they have the right to hate speech because they have a fucking Bible. Well, how does that work? You wouldn't accept somebody with a Quran saying hateful things and waving their Quran around. How is that any different from waving a Bible around?
Right. Yeah, it's nothing but that's kind of what I always say, like, and I don't really care for the false dichotomy, but I call them liberals because I know that that hurts them. And
Well,
that's what I always say is that that's how we identify who the liberals are, is because they're walking contradictions. So it doesn't matter if you wear the Bernadette merch and you call yourself a conservative. It's about your behavior and what you do, right?
well, the positioning of Christian nationalism rhetoric. Well, that's exactly what it is.
But I like Buddy. He's one of my best followers, I'll say.
Oh yeah, I see. Mr. Hartung is with us. That's cool because he was against TikTok this morning,
Oh
so he
yeah,
actually came on
Andy.
TikTok just to see
Yeah.
us. And he's made some really good comments. I've used some of his comments as content. Uh, that's that's been one of the blessings of what I'm doing now is I'm attracting a lot of really smart people to send me messages and stuff, and I'm able to use it to create more content. I've got this one fellow up in Dawson Creek named Didrik Strand, and he's an ex Nav Canada safety officer. Not ex, he's retired, and so he's the guy that I get all my aviation related content from. Like when you see me talking about how they're going to close down the airports and stuff like that,
Yeah.
that's the guy, and he's literally ex Nav Canada, so he knows. It's not like I'm just making this stuff up. So I'm lucky to be attracting people like that.
Yeah, it's
But
nice to get the feedback back and forth, and then that helps you to build more content and get more feedback. It's a exponential growth kind of thing.
yeah, it's so bizarre to me though, because like literally, I'll tell you a funny story. I was in Ontario. I was driving for Uber, and I had 195 followers on TikTok. Exactly 195. And I had them for like a few months, the same 195 people. And I was making my goofy little videos with music, and I would have different kinds of imagery just flashing away. I was using an animation software to do it. And I was having fun. I was just basically being creative and having fun and maybe having a little like, saying something at the end of the video. And I went into a, a Roots store, and I bought this sweater. This is my lucky sweater. And when I bought the sweater and I took it to the till to pay for it, they got a phone call at that exact moment where somebody ordered 195 exactly sweaters of this
Hmm.
exact sweater that I was just purchasing. So it was a complete coincidence, right? But somehow this 190, you think about that, 100, these were $100 sweaters. So somebody made a $20,000 retail order while I was standing there, and it happened to be the exact same number as how many followers I had on TikTok. So that's why this is my lucky sweater.
Huh. What a strange coincidence.
Isn't that strange? Yeah. But so, but I mean, I worked with just having very few followers right up until basically October of last year. And then when my girlfriend pointed out how I could get more serious, things have taken off. And On Facebook, they took off way harder than I expected. And yeah,
I'm
so
having trouble on Facebook. They've restricted me. So, like, from the moment I started making videos, so I'm not getting any traffic there.
really, they do seem to be choosy. Like in January, I was just on fire, and then now it's much harder to get a breakthrough video. It might be partly because I've just flooded the zone with so many videos, because that's been sort of my strategy is to make these short videos, but make dozens of them, right?
Yeah.
So, whereas, Bird a Proud Dad, I'll make like an 8 minute video. People just don't have time for that.
Yeah, they tune out.
Yeah.
That's what I've discovered too, is I just keep shortening, shortening, shortening. I was at like, I was trying to do 10 minutes and then five and then three or four and then three and then two and then
Literally
one. And now I'm at like, I think 30 seconds.
30 seconds. A full minute is a long video. And that's why I was laughing at these guys when I'm saying you can have a minute to give me your answer. Because in reality, that's a long time. You can say in 1 minute, you can say over 130 words. If you can't come up with a direct answer to something in that amount of time, then take more time. But be direct, right? Like it's not like I was sitting there with a fucking timer. Like, oh, that's 61 seconds. That doesn't count. I wasn't going to do that. I was like, if you need more time, take more time, but give me a direct answer. Don't you respect my time, respect my viewers' time, you know. But no, they want to go off and just blather on about backstory and what they had for breakfast this morning and like why I'm a bad guy, and here's a video I did 4 years ago where it seems out of context and blah 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 blah. And I was like, how is any of that to answer the fucking question? You
It's
know?
high school. They're 12.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, even for a like 2 minute video, that takes a lot of time out of your day if you're gonna write a script and edit it and all that and yeah, the formatting. It's not the format that they have a problem with. They don't want to do what we're doing and write a script. They just want to talk shit, right? They just want to make you
well,
look
and
bad.
Mr. Hartung made a good point here. He says Berta was being cropped in and out of that production reading a script. Like that 8 minute video he did was clearly a scripted video, even though he delivered it in such a way that it sounded unscripted. But it was a heavily edited video. You can't do that without a script. And, you know, he had a carefully crafted argument about how I was a bad guy, and therefore nothing I said mattered, I guess. But that's the disingenuousness of these people is on the one hand they call me out for using scripts as if that's a bad thing. Like everybody uses scripts in professional world. Nobody goes on the radio without a script. Nobody goes on TV without a script. Why would I not respect my viewers' time and intelligence by not using a script? Like right now, I'm not using a script. Is this? We've been talking for over an hour now. I hope this is entertaining to these people, but honestly, I do feel like if I had a script where I had pre-thought out all my points and plan, what I was going to cover, we would have gotten more information out, you know.
Right.
Uh, but I think people they assume because I use scripts that I don't know the stuff that I know. So it's important to do this kind of content once in a while to show that I do know what I'm talking about. But I'm not perhaps as well rehearsed as a guy like Bird a Proud Dad, who has a very recognizable patter that he goes through, and he goes into his reasonable dad voice, and he lays down the law of blah 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 blah, and attacks me for using a script.
Right.
The thing is, they can keep attacking me for using a script. I'll keep using scripts because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, why waste anybody's time? Like that's the one thing that really caught my eye, I guess, when I discovered your content was that, yeah, I admire that about you. You know, script it out, say what you want to say, don't waste people's time, and efficiency, right?
Yeah,
If you
well,
truly care,
and it's allowed me to flood the zone with tons of videos. Like I've got just since January, I've got over 400 videos out. And I didn't start doing separatist covering the separatist thing until November, I think. Before that, I was more talking about the F-35 and Gripen debate. Um, I covered that a lot, uh, and I just kind of did general interest stuff. And then prior to that, I was doing my music videos and stuff. But it has gotten a lot more interesting and more exciting since I've been doing the political commentary because I've always been interested in politics. I just didn't think people would give a shit what I had to say about it. That's kind of been the shocking thing is that there does seem to be people out there that care what I have to say. And so I've been able to build a bit of a platform. I've got just over 5,000 on TikTok now and over 31,000 on Facebook, which in the grand scheme is still pretty small, but it's enough that I do seem to have, I seem to be penetrating the manosphere of conservative commentators in in uh, in the social media, like because now they're responding to me. Like yesterday, I saw Bird Proud Dad. He did a stitch on one of my videos where I talked about pensions, and he said a bunch of bullshit. But that's him reacting to me. Uh, I don't react to him. I like I'm I'm kind of on the fence about whether I want to link my brand with his at all, you know? Because
yeah.
here's the fresh news about him actually. He has literally offered, I could show screenshots. I won't at this point because we're having a adult conversation behind the scenes on Instagram. But he has offered to pay for me to go to, I guess Calgary is where he is,
Yeah.
um, and spend, stay in a hotel and actually do a live event with him.
Oh well.
Yeah, which really kind of does up the ante because, part of the issue is travel expenses, because I am 6 hours away from Calgary.
Oh well. Yeah.
But
Hmm. Wow.
do you need to get to other stuff now?
Oh no.
We're over an hour now.
Yeah, it's up to you. I can talk as long as you want. I just need a
Well,
cigarette.
whoa, gross.
I don't know. I think I'd take him up on that. Shoot some video for us.
Well, it is kind of tempting, to be honest, on the one hand. And then on the other hand, I know that I'd just be walking into um, like an ambush. And then I have a feeling that all of a sudden Keith Wilson shows up. And now I'm doing a live debate with Keith Wilson. And Keith Wilson is a constitutional lawyer who's been working in the courts for over 20 years. He might just be the convoy lawyer, which is kind of what he just is, but that doesn't make him any less dangerous in a debate format that I don't control. If he doesn't have 1 minute, if he's not sticking to a 1 minute format, then that means I got to put up with his 90-minute uh, rebuttals and stuff. Like it's just, you know,
That's pretty time consuming, yeah.
yeah. So
I'm the opposite. I constantly attack them, him, Bernadette, them, fake conservatives. I'll comment on his content on Twitch or not Twitch, on TikTok, X, Twitter, X, whatever. I'll harass him.
Well, that's the thing. Don's got it right. Berta, a proud dad, isn't an honest debater. And that's the main reason I don't want to go on his show, is because if he's not going to be fact based, then what are you debating? If I've got to just sit there fact checking him the whole time, then it's just boring. Like, I don't know.
I think they're just not even real people. They're just doing it for the ad revenue. They're just doing it for the money, for the fame, the attention.
Yeah, which must be nice. I haven't experienced any of that kind of money yet.
Well, I almost wonder if it's pay to play because just like on TikTok here, you can promote your videos and stuff, right? You get like 30,000 extra views for $20 or something.
Oh yeah.
So, I almost wonder if they're actually industry proxies, and this whole thing is, I don't know, like directed by a board or something. These people are hired to be on social media to play a part and be an actor. And
Well, I think there is something going on behind the scenes, because the thing is all these conservative commentators do seem to have kind of a coordinated message,
yeah,
and they're all singing from the same playbook. And
I think I commented one time there on your videos telling you there's like three different ones, three of them who are almost saying word for word, verbatim, the exact same message about separation, about how the battle's not won, and even though that could be that could throw or that could inhibit or throw the whole movement in the garbage, is that we're overconfident or something like that, something along those lines. And it was almost word for word, and I'm like, this is mainstream media.
yeah, they're just repeating talking points. So that's one thing I've tried to get away from with my work, is away from slogans, away from talking points. Like I'll pick a point one each week. I kind of pick on a certain thread to pull on, right? One week it'll be currency. One week it'll be pensions. One week it'll be, what would happen if BC cut off access to the coast, you know, like, so, and it's interesting because I'm learning as I go too. I don't know everything,
Yeah, same.
which is obvious, you know, but like I learned today that the federal government doesn't own the railroads. Those are privately owned, but the government regulates the railroads. And those privately owned railways are owned by multinational companies that rely on the ability to use those railroads to move things internationally across Canada and across Alberta. So the idea that Alberta could just cut BC off from the rest of Canada is a bit of a fantasy, because you'd be asking these private companies to go against their own profitability to hurt BC. And there would be no reason for them to do that. They would have no dog in that hunt.
Right. That's strange. I had never heard that, actually.
Yeah. So, because I've been saying for the last 5, 6 days, the federal government owns the railways and highways, and it's not that simple. So I've corrected myself. But
Did you
it's
do an interview with Manny?
with Mandeep.
Yeah.
I exchanged a couple questions with him, but he did the Gish Gallop deal, where he instead of answering my question at all, like he just ignored my question, and then he went into a well rehearsed blah 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 blah, where he threw up about 6 different issues, all of which were, I could beat all those issues one at a time. But what am I going to make a 6 hour video to explain all these things? So so yeah, it didn't go anywhere because he didn't respect the time limit. He didn't respect the question. So I'm not going to do a debate with that guy. He proved already. And so it's kind of the same thing with Brita Proud Dad. Despite the fact that he's offering to fly, well, I don't know if he's offering to fly me out, but to to get me out to Calgary to meet him in person. Uh, I know that he's not going to respect the debate format, and that's a waste of my time. And I feel it's a waste of my viewers' time. A lot of people want to see this happen just because it's sort of like watching their favorite wrestlers go at it in the ring, and it's like that's not what it is for me. You know, I don't want to like I don't care about proving him wrong. Like I don't know. It's I just I resent the idea of giving them what they want, I guess.
Yeah, he did the same thing. He's just talking over me and just trying to.
Yeah, well, and the thing is all he cares about his own self promotion. Like on the video he did where he talked about what a bad guy I am, he doesn't even mention me or picture me in the the headline of the video. The video is all about me, but it's got some headline that has absolutely nothing to do with it. It says anti-separatist has a meltdown or something. It's like nobody would even know it's about me to see that video. So he purposely made a video about how bad I was and then didn't do the things that would obviously be good for SEO. So he buried the video. It's still got 10,000 views on his platform, which is one of his best performing videos. Um, and he does have 200,000 followers on Instagram and 10,000 on YouTube. So he's not nobody. But I like to have fact based conversations. Like, one thing I respect about you is even though you are conservative and you're holding the line for conservatives, you like Danielle Smith, you're still fact based, you know? So I respect that. Whereas with him, it's not so much fact based.
No, I
So,
think it's just pop culture and narcissism and
yeah.
just virtue signaling. I don't think that they genuinely believe that they're a force. I feel like they just like the attention. And especially Manny, he likes the sound of his own voice.
Well, he's the Mandeep Bal. Yeah, it's interesting that he's conservative in Alberta and pro-separatist, because let's face it, there's a hugely racist undercurrent in that sphere as well, right? Like I've covered that a fair bit. Um, you get into a conversation with hardcore separatists, and very quickly it turns into, oh, we're gonna deport everybody, and we're gonna, it's all gonna, it's gonna be a white ethno state where we're all Christian and waving Bibles around all the time. And it's like, why would Mandeep Bal want that, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, you know, because yeah, so I don't really understand where he's coming from at all. I do know there's conservative East Indian people in Surrey. I used to live in Surrey in British Columbia, and there are conservative East Indian people, but him in Alberta, it just doesn't make sense. Nothing pro
Bree
separatist.
Bree says here, you guys are pretty bully talking about people when they're not even here. Well, Bree, every single one of them has blocked me, so I can't talk to them. I guess I'll have to talk about them.
Well, and we're talking about them because they're talking about us. Like they, Berta Proud Dad. He buried it under a inconsequential headline and stuff, but he did make an 8-minute personal attack on me, and that hurt my interest in doing something with him, even if he's going to pay my bills to go see him. But who knows? As I do more of these kind of events, like this is my first time doing something like this. Is this what we're doing right now? Um, I've done one other podcast where I just talked, like free talked. What do you want to call it? Off the cuff. I talked for about half an hour, and it was fairly popular. I cut it up into smaller chunks, and it did fairly well. But this is my first time having a conversation, especially with a conservative. So I wanted to get my feet wet. But I may or may not do one with Berta Proud Dad in the future, but not yet. I,
I think it would be good publicity for you at least.
well, I got to wait for it to be when it's on my terms, when I actually have, I don't know, like a new product I want to introduce or something. Because right now, I don't make hardly any money off of this at all. Like I do sell the odd hat here and there, the odd bit of merchandise, but I'm not running the big operation like he is. Like you tell me, does his stuff actually sell? Like are people walking around wearing his shit?
I personally haven't seen any, but I believe so.
Yeah, he's just got so much of it, and it's funny how he makes fun of me for using ChatGPT, but it's obvious that all his gear is made using
Yeah.
AI. You know,
The
it's like,
entire separatist movement is AI generated.
yeah, but yet somehow I'm the bad guy for using it to organize my thoughts. Like and fact check myself.
I always say it seems like the AI is generating them rather than them generating the AI.
Yeah, yeah,
The transhumanism looks a little different than it does in the movies.
yeah.
But actually, I'm surprised that you're getting attention from them because they just outright block me as soon as I engage whatsoever.
I think they can talk me into seeing it their way.
But
I
I'm
think they might
also
actually think that.
yeah. Well, I'm
But
also like
either
considered a nobody, right? So I don't think they can't ignore you.
which is amazing to me because I've only been at this for a few months. Uh, so it's not like I'm some established guy. But I think that's part of the reason they want after me so bad is because they want to try to embarrass me, which I've proven with these videos I'm perfectly capable of embarrassing myself.
Nobody needs help with that.
That's right. I've been looking back at some of my older videos and mining them for stuff I could reuse. And some of my older videos are like, oh, that didn't age well, or that probably won't repost that one.
Okay.
So it's not all gold. I'll recognize that. But
Yeah, we all learn. There's definitely a learning curve to the social media and content creation and technological experience, right?
well, and it's an interesting time, right? Because it used to be politics was you would watch the news at 6 o'clock at night, maybe 11 o'clock at night, and then that's what you knew about politics was whatever was on TV. Maybe you'd read the paper. Now you've got information coming at you from all different directions all the time, and half of it is bullshit, or probably more than half of it. So I try to use the mainstream, well, for lack of a better word, the mainstream news like CBC, like CTV, like Global. If they're saying something, I'll take it seriously. But you got these outlets like Rebel News and True North and all that. And essentially, they're just mouthpieces for Trump. Like, you know, so
Yeah, I think people they want to feel like they're the resistance, right? But the reality is that they're the opposition, and more often than not, it's the controlled opposition.
yeah. Well, we've been at this for an hour and a half now. So, um, yeah, I
That's
guess
it.
we
If
should
you
probably
want to,
wrap it up.
yeah, if you want to end it.
We should probably wrap it up. I uh, I thought we would do this for 20 minutes, so an hour and a half. Like that's that definitely the longest event I've ever done. So I thank you for the good conversation uh, and for being an ingenuous person that stays fact based and isn't looking for an opportunity to try to embarrass the other person. And I hope I've treated you the same way.
Yeah, I like this. That we can have opposing views and still have a some civil dialogue and conversation, and we should do this again.
I think so. I think so. We'll have to plan it. We'll plan it out.
Right
Maybe
on.
once a week or something.
Yeah, yeah, why not?
All right. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, take it easy.